everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. Today's tutorial is just going to be another synth eye tutorial. We're going to be using EbSynth today. And the nice thing about this is that you don't need to have a program that can do tracking like After Effects, which most people like me would use to transform eyes. EbSynth is totally free. There's a lot of freedom with this, and you can change a lot. And there are a lot of tutorials out there online, and a lot of different uses for EbSynth. So yeah, I will show you what the output was that I got. I'll show you the original Ray clip next to Ray edited and kind of what I decided to do there. And then I will take you through the process. So let's start. Okay, so first things first, I made a folder before I started doing anything called EbSynth, and you can call it whatever, but basically this is where everything you're going to be using and outputting will go into. And what I mean by that is within this folder, so ignore a lot of this, but within the folder I started and I made three subfolders. I made a video sequence folder, I made a keyframes folder, and I made a process folder. The video sequence folder is going to be for your starting clip. Nothing's done to it yet, you're just going to be turning it into an image sequence, and that's where all of those images, those frames will be going. The keyframes are just the edited frame from that video sequence that shows kind of how you want your whole video to look. So in my case, it was with the eyes and whatnot. And then processed is obviously what EbSynth will send all its edited frames to. So you really just need three frames: your video sequence, your keyframes, and your processed. And again, you can name it whatever. I just named it that to help myself. As far as video sequence goes, or image sequence, sorry, I used After Effects for that, but there are sites, like I just did a simple Google search, turn video into image sequence, and it looks like there are sites that can do that for you. It might take longer just because it's an online thing, but if you have After Effects or another video editing program, you should have the ability to export something as an image sequence. So I just went to this video because it shows a screenshot of kind of where you would see how to select a video or image sequence. In the render queue, you would click around here. I think you click lossless. It's usually set as that. And then you would change QuickTime to PNG sequence or JPEG sequence or whatever you prefer. But you usually want PNG. I think that's just easier that way. And yeah, and then you would just render it and it would put all the frames wherever you selected. So obviously make sure you would change your output to the folder for all your video sequence frames that we have. After we've got all our images in our video sequence, you're going to just pick one that has the most visually available. So like when I say that, like let's say you wanted to change eye color, so look through all your frames and find the one that you feel like has the most canvas to work with, I suppose. So I chose this one because you can really see all of her eyes, you can see the glints, you can see just even the edge of her iris, all that. So that's the one I chose to work with. That was just my last one. And don't rename all of these, keep the numbers, because EbSynth will help use those numbers to kind of match up the keyframe with the overall sequence. So I pulled this last frame into Photoshop, and I have that here. And this is kind of what I was working with first. And basically, first I just added the iris. So I added this lightening layer and I added a slight red ring around it as well. And then I also decided to give her some makeup, so I kind of I lightened the dark space between her brows and I darkened the edges of her brows, and I also gave her some more eyelashes and whatnot. So yeah, and also kind of muted the tone of her lips. And that was kind of the makeup I went with, and then I did take it a step further. I rendered this whole group, and then I added a little bit of a liquify tool effect to her mouth so it looked like she was smiling. And that can make it tricky for EbSynth, especially if the head does move, which hers did a little bit, but generally it was pretty okay. So you can do a lot here. I've seen tutorials where people removed ties on guys' shirts in Harry Potter and they gave them bow ties instead. So that's like a possibility. You can really get creative with this, but yeah. So I edited a keyframe, saved it to my keyframe folder, which is just this one, and I only did one keyframe for this whole thing. And then all we have left to do is pull that into EbSynth. So I will open that now. So when you have EbSynth open, it's gonna give you this little window here, and you're gonna see keyframes, video. That's really all you need to worry about, and then the output folder. Those are really the three things you need to concern yourself with. So what you really want to do is you want to have EbSynth open, and you want to have a Finder window or Documents window open, and you want to have it to your spot where you have those three main folders: the video sequence, keyframes, and process. And you can honestly just drag these into their designated spots. So you can drag video sequence to video, you can drag keyframes to keyframes, and i.e. pulled process to output. And then EbSynth will know that we're going to pull the keyframe, which is still with its original number and title. We're going to use that and reference it to the first footage. And when I did that, you may have noticed it actually automatically saw, oh, that's the 63rd keyframe. That corresponds to frame 63. So we're all right. And it will probably work backwards because of that, because it's starting with the end. And then all you do from there is you hit synth. And because it's trying to, use AI to do this, it will take some time. It's much faster than the old version of EbSynth, but I think it probably took like 10 minutes to render a 5-second clip. It might have been less. Might have been more like 8-7 minutes. But it really honestly depends. My computer is pretty much full, and it's an old Mac, and I'm sure this would be a much faster process and a better computer. But yeah, you just hit synth, and you will start to see all these processed frames show up. But for After Effects, if you go to File and Import, select File, and don't worry yet, you're going to be able to pull them all in. And so you're in your processed folder. If you just select one of them, it will import it as footage. This was literally just selected when I went in here. It just knew that this was a frame and that all of these were going to correspond with that. And since I didn't have anything else in my project yet, I also hit Create Composition. And it's going to put it in a PNG sequence. And it will put this in all together. Yeah, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I'm kind of blown away by EbSynth. As far as like changing eye color and doing little details, I think it's great. I do want to eventually try it out, swapping out Ray and Padme's faces and seeing if it can work with that or if it just gets too tricky. So I'll have to see, but I think it's great because it's a free program. Editors could really use this and get really advanced with it, I think, and it's just a great resource. So I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you can use it to change eye colors yourself, because you don't have to worry about tracking anything. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial or edit. Bye.